Hello, and welcome to the 2024 Live Well Bethel Park program. I'm Bethel Park Municipal Manager Kristen Denny, and today we'll be discussing the best ways to optimize our nutrition and exercise with Abby McCormick, owner of the No Be Fit in Bethel Park. Mental and physical health are very important to most of us, and learning to exercise correctly can contribute to feeling stronger, preventing injuries, dropping excess weight, and relieving stress. So let's get started and learn more with Abby. And Abby, if you could tell us a little bit about the naming of your business.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Abby McCormick, one of the owners of No Be Fit, and the name stands for North Bethel. So my dad actually came up with it several years ago, and it ended up just sticking really well. So he wanted to make Bethel Park more trendy by coming up with No Be, and it just suits our gym and the quirks of what we do and our gym and myself and all that good stuff. So, but I studied exercise science in college. I played tennis at IUP, and then a couple years later moved on to end up opening this gym. So that was about 6 years ago.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for sharing. I love the No Be. I love the North Bethel. I think that's great. Thanks. That's awesome. So, if someone is looking to start an exercise program to lose weight, get fit, feel stronger, where should they begin?
There's so many places you could begin, which sometimes can make it really confusing for people to figure out just a starting point or something to start doing. What we always work with our clients, what we tell them is to find something that feels easy to start doing. Whether that's walking for 5 minutes a day after you eat a meal, it could be making it down to the gym at work for 15 minutes and doing a couple different movements. It doesn't even have to be anything that seems like it's a lot. It can be, finding and understanding where you're starting from is a really important aspect of figuring out what next step makes sense. So having the opportunity to kind of look at your day-to-day life and seeing where you might have 15, 20, 30 minutes where you could start doing something in those timeframes, and always start small. So that's how you avoid getting hurt. It's how you avoid burning out too quickly and things like that. If you want to be able to work out 5 days a week, but currently you work out no days and you already feel confident that you can fit 3 days into your schedule, start with 3 and work up to doing 5. That's also another place where a lot of people get caught up, is thinking like what they should be doing is more than what they currently have the confidence that they can do. So, if you set a goal, maybe divide it by 2 or a third, take a third away from it, and then kind of start in that point. So take a little bit away from what you think you want to be able to do in the future, and then slowly stack on to that. So then you'll build momentum and be more likely to be able to keep those habits for a long time.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That was some really practical advice. Can you demonstrate some fundamental exercises that can be done to improve overall strength for both beginners and those who want to be a little more advanced? And while doing so, could you explain the expected benefits and how the exercises can be adapted?
Yeah. So what I'll take everyone through is an example of a core exercise, a squat exercise, a hinging exercise, a pushing and a pulling exercise, and a couple different adaptations for all of those movements. Those are kind of the basic movement patterns that everyone should incorporate into their workouts, into their training, day-to-day life, all of those kinds of things. So we'll go ahead and show you a couple of different movements and ways to make them less challenging or more challenging based on where you're at. All right, so first we're gonna go through 3 different squat variations of varying difficulty. So the first one is gonna be a wall sit, which everybody loves wall sits from gym class or potentially soccer. And you'll wanna have, basically get as low as you can. The lowest would be 90 degrees with the floor. You can come up if you need to, if there's too much pressure on your knees, maybe try to move your feet forward a little bit and then come down. And then just try to hold as long as you can. Okay. And then if that's feeling pretty good for you, the next movement is gonna be a squat, which you can also use a box, a bench, a chair, whatever you have at home or wherever you are working out, and feet a little bit outside of your hips. And then you're gonna squat down. Your knees can come forward, that's totally okay. They should come forward. Keep your chest up and try to squat to that box. If you wanna make it a little harder, try without the box. Try to go as low as you can. Your arms can go wherever. They can go up here, whatever you wanna do. You can make that more difficult or just change up how it feels by changing the stance. You could go a little wider. You could go a little bit more narrow. It's gonna be really hard for me. Yeah, so change up the stance, make sure your form's good, make sure you can keep your chest up, all those good things. And if you can do that to a box. With no box, then you can add some weight. You can hold the weight in front of you, you can put it on your back, you can have whatever. This could be a gallon of milk at home. So for this, you could also start with the box, keeping your chest up again, and then make it a little more challenging all the way down. But same principles apply. You wanna make sure keeping your chest up, good form, don't feel too much pressure in your knees, things like that. If you're having a hard time getting low, you could put something under your heels to elevate your heels a little bit, maybe like 5-pound plates or a rug or something if you're at home. But yeah, those are our squats. So we're gonna go to hinging. Okay, so next we're gonna go over a couple different movements for hinging. Hinging is essentially just moving at the hips, torso comes forward. You'll feel a stretch in your hamstrings. It's just one of the other movement patterns, often one that gets neglected and is really important because a lot of the time we're all sitting like this all day. So doing the opposite of that is really important. The first one is going to be on the ground. One of the most supported ways to do a hinge. Both feet on the ground, heels under your knees, hands at your sides, lay flat back, and then you're going to lift your hips towards the ceiling. So you should feel in your glutes, maybe a little bit in your hamstrings. Definitely shouldn't feel your lower back. If you do, really try to focus on squeezing your glutes. Maybe move your feet around, things like that. So you can do those on the ground. And then a standing version of the hinge pattern is a good morning, which has a funny name. But the good morning is here, hips come back, and I feel a lot of stretch in my hamstrings. Then I'm coming forward. And again, you could do this with a gallon of milk or whatever you have that has a little bit of weight. As long as you can feel it in this position, you can feel your hamstrings activating. With no weight, you're good to go. And you should not also feel your lower back in this exercise. So making sure that you're really pushing your hips back, and that's why your torso is gonna move. That should get your hamstrings engaged and you should feel a good stretch. So that's our hinging. So next is gonna be upper body pushing. So one really simple exercise for, simple, not easy, exercise for upper body pushing is a plank. So keeping your shoulders over your wrists. In this position, you're gonna push through the ground, squeeze your legs, squeeze everything, and hold that as long as you can. Ta-da. Okay, so another variation of pushing is a push-up, so which is a little bit of a progression from that plank. So starting with a bench or something higher than a bench if you need to, whatever is gonna help you be able to get your torso all the way down to that bench, table, couch, wall, whatever it is. You wanna lower your body all the way down and then push back up. And if that's too challenging, you could focus on the lowering portion, which is the part that will make you the strongest. And then use your legs to come back up to the top, get set up, and then come back down. And that's how you build the strength to be able to do a push-up, is starting with something that's high enough that you can do that full range of motion, or those negatives, and then slowly work your way closer and closer to the ground, which a full push-up from the ground would be, try not to hit my head. So close. Here. So chest touches the ground, able to push all the way back up into that plank position. But if being able to do a push-up is something you've wanted to do, work your way lower, start with your hands higher, then work your way to the ground, and you'll be able to do it. So along with the plank, we're gonna show you some other core exercises that you can do. So start with laying flat on your back, legs at 90 degrees, arms reaching forward. You should not be able to put your hands under your lower back. You should feel your lower back pressing into the ground. If not, bring your knees a little bit closer, that'll help. And then reach your hands forward as much as you can. Bring the shoulders up. It's already really hard. And then to make this more challenging, you could do arms overhead. Same thing though, keeping your lower back down. You could always do one arm and then the other arm. And then next would be legs. I'd suggest one leg at a time. Always keeping that lower back down. And then both legs at the same time. And then finally, the most difficult would be arms. And I can't do this very long. Yep. So that's how you would progress that version of a core exercise. Okay, so next one, we're gonna be doing upper body pulling. So there's a couple different ways that you can do, well, just like at all of the other movements, I guess. Different like variations that you can do. So vertical pulling would be like a pull up or anything where you're pulling down from over your head. You can also have vertical pulling that's pulling you down towards the ground, which is what I'm gonna show you. Something that would be more likely to get missed. So this is working on resisting these kettlebells pulling me towards the ground. And I have to kind of keep my scaps back, my shoulder blades, and my chest up, torso up. You could carry gallons of milk this way. This will make you stronger for carrying groceries, like any day-to-day life things. You can hold like this. You could march in place. That'll get your core going a little bit more too as well. And then you could also simply just walk around a room or walk around a gym with carrying weights. So. And then another variation of a pulling exercise, a little bit, I don't know necessarily more challenging or progression from the former carry, but just different variation with some other ways to progress it and make it more difficult no matter what level you're at. So this next one is gonna be a ring row, which you'll need a set of rings, or if you have a TRX or something like that, same thing, it all works the same. So rings will start out in front of you, and then you're gonna pull your hands to your chest, really squeezing your shoulder blades back, opening your chest, and then coming all the way down. And then you can adjust the difficulty of this by standing more upright. So the more upright you are, the less tension is gonna be on your arms. And then the lower you are, which I don't even know, the more difficult it's gonna be on your arms. Ta-da!
Thank you, Abby. Those were great exercises and definitely gives our viewers something to think about. So how important is it to add aerobic activity, and what are the best types that you recommend?
Yeah, so aerobic activity is always great for everyday people who, just looking to be healthier overall. If someone has a really specific strength goal or something like that, there's really no interference between the two. So if anyone's worried about interfering with your strength gains with cardio or aerobic exercise, have no fear, you'll probably be fine. So incorporating a couple days a week, it could be walking, it could be riding a bike, it could be anything that feels low impact, easy to do. Again, it could be swimming, 2 to 3 to 4 days a week, 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Walking and getting steps in is one of the best things that we can do for our health, especially for a lot of us who sit at desks a lot of the day. Being able to get up, move your body, get your blood flowing, get your lymphatic system moving. There's a lot of different processes that happen that are really important for digestion, your heart health, skin health, digestive health, all of those different things just from walking. So even if that is enough for a lot of people, is to do 3 to 4 days of strength training and then 3 to 4 days of walking per week. And then if you have any specific cardio or aerobic goals, then you can do a little bit more, make it a little bit more intense, depending on if you have running goals or biking goals or anything like that. But walking is a very, very powerful tool for a lot of areas of our health, and it's as simple as putting on a pair of shoes and stepping outside.
Okay.
So
that's great advice.
keep it simple. Again, is the theme.
What would a typical week of exercise look like for someone wanting to improve their strength and endurance?
Yeah, so I guess I kind of just went over that a little bit, got ahead of myself, but the typical day, like strength training and cardio, would be 3 to 4 days of full body strength training. So that's going through all those movement patterns we just went through, all those exercises that I showed: squat, pull, hinge, push, core, and lunging. All those different movement patterns each day whenever you do strength training, that gets your entire body moving. It hits that way you can hit all different areas of your body throughout the week multiple times, and then fill in the rest of the days with a little bit of cardio, whatever feels good, whatever is fun. Go play outside, go to a trampoline park and jump around with your kids. That counts as aerobic, and also it's fun and it's something that's enjoyable for you outside of the gym and just in everyday life. So 2, 3, 4 days of strength training, 2, 3, 4 days of any kind of aerobic activity, that would be fun. And again, kind of with all of that stuff, is finding things that are enjoyable and easy to do, so you continue to do them.
Okay, great. Can you offer basic nutrition recommendations for various stages in our life and how we should change and adapt if we want to lose weight? And can you also talk about how those that want to gain weight or build muscle as well?
Yeah, so it's kind of similarly to what I've already talked about with exercise. With nutrition and building nutrition habits, a lot of the time it's picking something that you already feel confident that you can do or adjust and add into your life without a ton of extra stress. It shouldn't be a huge burden to, let's say every morning you have 5 eggs and toast for breakfast, and you're looking to reduce calories to lose weight. So maybe you have 3 eggs and toast. You're not totally changing your breakfast. You're not taking everything away that you already enjoy that breakfast, so you don't have to completely remove it from your life or anything like that. So in terms of habit building and habit formation with nutrition, it's always about picking something that feels easy to do, just like with the exercise, and then also putting it on something that you already do every day. So every day, if you brush your teeth in the morning and you want to drink more water, brush your teeth, drink your glass of water. Easy way to add it to something that you already have the habit of doing every single day, and then you're just adding something that you want to start doing more of throughout your day, and then that'll set you up for success kind of going through the rest of the day. And then, overall nutrition guidance for any age is a lot of the things would be focused around protein intake. So there's no really one set amount of protein every person should get throughout the day. It kind of tends to vary between 0.8 and 1.2 grams per pound or per kilogram of body weight, which is, if you're eating no protein, then jumping to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a huge jump. So, it's just always trying to incorporate a little bit more lean protein in each meal. And then lean protein meaning lower fat, higher protein. So if it's peanut butter, which has about 8 grams of fat and 8 grams of protein, that counts as a fat source. And chicken might have 35 grams of protein and 2 to 4 grams of fat. That's a good lean protein source. So that's kind of how you differentiate between what would be a really good lean source of protein. Not that fats are bad, but a lot of protein sources also come with fats, or what we commonly think of. Yeah.
Okay. I know that you were certified in trauma-informed weightlifting. Can you tell us more about that, as well as mental health benefits of incorporating exercise into our lives?
Yeah, so the trauma-informed certification that I went through, I did that in the very beginning of 2023, was all about understanding how to work with people and help them heal through things that they have been through in their life. And a lot of those things can come up in the gym, and for a lot of people, having a place where they feel comfortable and they feel safe just being themselves can be really difficult. So having the tools and the understanding of how to know and really understand and empathize with what might be going on for someone and potentially ask them questions, let them share. By no means are we therapists or anything like that, but we still work with people every day, and people are complex and come to us with however many years of lived experience that they've already been through. So how can we kind of support who that person was and is whenever they come in the door, and then how can we help them understand all of those things, and then understand for ourselves how we can best help them. So it's all about, it's really a lot about meeting people where they are and being able to understand how they got there. Mm-hmm. So with the lens of compassion and curiosity and empathy and all of those kinds of things, and really being able to see someone for where they're at. And then the mental health benefits of exercise are vast. I'm sure a lot of people watching have had the experience of working out in a gym and just knowing how much better you feel after, or you lift you do a bench press and you lift this weight off your chest and you feel really good after. What you're potentially doing is, feeling through things that are going on in your life, and you're helping to kind of move that stress loop forward and kind of through and out of your body. So that's one of the mental health benefits of exercise. It's great to connect with people. It's great to have a place where you feel comfortable and to work on yourself and all of those kinds of things. There's a lot of, kind of deeper things that I don't need to, or I won't get too much into right now. But overall mood boosting, generally feeling better in your body, feeling better with your body, all of those kinds of things, being able to accomplish things that you didn't think you could do or that are new to you, challenging yourself in new ways. Those are all really helpful tools for humans to feel better on a day-to-day basis, and then mentally also feel better and build resiliency inside of the gym so that they can handle things outside of the gym in a way that feels good for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's an amazing benefit to the community and No Be Fit that probably wouldn't be the norm in a lot of environments. So is there anything else that you'd like to touch on today?
That's a good question. Well, we have 5 coaches now that are certified in trauma-informed weightlifting, which makes us pretty unique in the area, and it's just part of our philosophy of understanding the whole of a person and what makes them who they are, and really being able to embrace them and help them get to where they want to go. So our gym can feel like a nice hug, but I guess if I were to leave with one thing, it would be to emphasize the importance of having compassion for yourself whenever you are trying to make changes or incorporate new things in your life or develop a new habit, start exercising, change your nutrition, start walking more, all of those kinds of things. That's a really, really important almost antidote to the inevitable ups and downs of that journey. So the more you can kind of foster that compassion for yourself, the more likely you'll be to stick with it, because it's harder to stick with things if you're not nice to yourself about it, and it only reduces the likelihood that you would. So no one's going to be harder on you than yourself. So it's and it is really hard to be nice to yourself whenever you think you should be doing better or should be doing more or something like that. But really, I just so often feel like people can't overdo self-compassion. So, and then it's really just something that helps people unlock being able to do new things, and for the long term too. So that's probably, that would be a really important thing.
Great. Well, thank you. I mean, this is definitely a very different holistic approach to fitness. Thank you again. Thanks to all of you who've turned in to watch today's program. Our series will continue with episodes in April, June, August, October, and December, and will air on the first Wednesday of each of those months at 7 p.m. on the Municipality of Bethel Park's Facebook page. Thank you again, and please think about stopping here at North Bethel to meet the wonderful people at Nobi Fit. Thank you.
Thank you.